Okay, let me summarize what we have seen so far after the lunch session. So we got into basic reporting. We saw how to create 3 different types of reports. The first was the list report. Then we saw how to create a calendar, then followed by a bar graph. Then we got into form automation, where we created rules and associated certain tasks to it. So that's some kind of automation that you can achieve through the UI. Next, we got into record summary. I showed you the possibilities with how you can customize each and every record in your report. And then we created a ID card. Now, so far, whatever application that we have is a private application. Private application, I mean, it can be accessed only by me. So all these forms, reports, everything within my application can be accessed just by me. So let's say I'm the front office guy in the company, and I have 2 other colleagues with me who are working in the front office in different shifts. And I need to share a few of these forms and reports to my colleagues so that they can access and they can enter data or they can view all the reports. So how do I do that? So in this exercise, we'll be seeing 2 tasks. The first task will be to share the report with the admin of the company. Let's say we have 3 different people. We have the admin of the company who needs access to the entire application. Let's say it's the sales manager who wants access to the visited sales report, the report that we created specifically for sales. And finally, let's say if we have the front office guys who are working along with me, so I need to share that visitor tracking form and report alone with that person. So what I'll do here is, first, I'll take up the first task, that is sharing the entire application with the admin of the company. Then I want all of you to see how I do it. Then what you can do is you can do the task 2 and 3, that is sharing specific components with the users. So let's get started. Now, so I want all of you to be on the dashboard page. We are going to start navigating to the Share tab from this page. Now, I get into the Settings tab here, the Settings icon which you see here. Click on it. This is the application settings. Always remember, an application settings is different from a form settings. So this is the application settings where we make changes to the entire application, whereas when you get into a specific form, let's say you're in a form and this icon which you see here is the form settings. If you want to make any customization to the form, you do it here. If you want to do an application level settings, then you get to this tab. Now, we are in the General tab. Let's say I wish to change my application name, so I can go ahead and make the changes here. If you would like to, let's say you've shared an application and you want your visitors to access the application, so you can give them this link. They can directly access the application using this link. And again, you can set a developer for your application. The developer will have the same access, like you say, that even the developer will have the access to access the development mode of the application, where he can go ahead and make the changes. And you can set the date and time format, the time zones for your application. Once you're done making all the changes, click on Save. Now, let's get into sharing. So this is the Share tab. I hope all of you have the same screen. If some of you have a different sharing screen, can someone from the floor check if we have everyone in the same screen? Yes. Okay, so in this share tab, we have two sections, the invite section and the shared details section. First, let's get into invite. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see all the components of the application. So this is the application, and we have different sections, the visitor sign-in section and the employee listing section. And each and every section has specific forms and reports. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share the entire application with the admin of the company. So to do that, I click on this. And under users, I'm going to type in my admin manager's email address. Let's say it's James Zilker at gmail.com. So this will be the account that we'll be using for demo. So you have to type in the email address of the user here. You can choose to type in more email address. Let's say you want to share it with multiple person. You just add a comma to it and specify the other email address. Now, you can also select users. Let's say you've already shared it with a specific person in a different application. You want to share it with the same person here. So once you share it by specifying an email address, that user will be added here. So you can just search for a particular name and add it so that it gets added somewhere here. Now, so basically on the left side of the screen, this is the what to do tab, and this is how to do tab. Now, we can see a send invitation checkbox here. This checkbox will be checked by default. What this is going to do is, as soon as I click on the share button, it's going to send an email invitation to the admin of the application with the following content. So I can choose to make changes to the content, or if I don't want him to receive an email invitation but still share the application to him, I just uncheck this checkbox. Let me keep it checked. Now I specify the admin's email address and I click on the share now button. We can see a success message displayed here as sharing done with the selected users. Now I'm going to log in as the admin of the application. So that's the Gmail account to which I shared with. Let me refresh the application once. As we can see here, we have got an invite. So I think someone else has also tried to share the application with me. Someone who is created here has shared an application. So that's why I've got an invite. Not sure who it is. Okay. So this is where I go, and we can see a link here to access the application. Now, as you can see here, I have logged in as the admin of the company, and I'm able to see all the forms and the reports because I've shared the entire application with the user. Now, I get back to the Share tab. Now let's get into the shared details. When I click on a specific form, it's going to open a shared details tab where we can see all the users to whom I have shared the application with or shared the specific component with. Let's say this is the visitor sign-in form, and I can see the user details. I can choose to unshare or re-invite. It's again going to send an email invitation to the user. Now, we'll get it. So to share the sales report alone, what I'm going to do is I get into the share tab, I get into invite, and I choose the specific report, that is visitors to sales. I'm going to check only this checkbox and I'll share it with the user. So when the sales manager logs in, he'll not be able to see the other components, that is the visitor sign-in form or report, because it's completely irrelevant to them. Yes. Yes, yes. So each and every time when you add a user, you can you see a manage users button here? I get in there. So this is the account setup where you can see which plan are you in and the total number of users licenses that you have and the number of active and the deactivated users. So let's say you wish to add a user. So every time you share an application or a specific component with a user, they'll be automatically added as a user in the account settings. So you can add how many number of users you want, but then still you can activate only a few users based on the license that you have. So again, account settings is something on the application level, not on the, sorry, it's on the account level, not on the application level. So all the users under different applications will be listed here. I hope most of you would have got an understanding of how sharing works, and we have something called as groups also, wherein you can create groups, let's say based on the departments or based on the verticals that you have within the company. You can create a group and add users to it so that you don't have to share the application with each and every individual. Apart from this basic sharing, we have some of the advanced sharing concepts where I guess most of you would have gone through users and permissions. So this is the advanced sharing that is being explained in the other track, that is the developers track, where you can set up roles, you can set up profiles, create profiles, and it's something, roles are something like a hierarchy where you set up a hierarchy for your company and you assign permissions to different users.
What level of Zoho subscription do you need to have in order to be able to use Zoho permissions?
So I think this is supported in the enterprise version, right? Yeah, this is supported in the, no, not in any other versions. So all these 4 features, users and permissions, customer portal, translation, live chat, all these 4 features are supported in the enterprise edition. So this will be discussed in detail in the advanced sharing session that will be done in the developer track. So we'll be covering just the basic session. So pretty much I hope everybody would have done it now. So we have created the application, we have shared it with the users. So it was a long journey in creating an application. We saw how to create forms, we saw how to add data to the forms, viewing data as reports, creating rules and tasks to your application to make your form more dynamic. And we saw how to kind of set record summary and share it with other users. So pretty much we are done creating complete application of visitor management, or say visitor tracking. Now, let's say you would like to export this application. How do we do that? Now, from the dashboard, I click on application settings. And there is an option to export. On the top right corner of the screen, you can see here, export application. So just click on that. The entire application file will be downloaded to your local system. It's taking some time, which we call it as a DS file. You can export this DS file, and later, if you'd like to create an application by importing a DS file, like how we imported a spreadsheet today, similarly, you can import a DS file and create an application out of it. This will be the first thing that we'll be doing tomorrow, whereas we already have a pre-built application with us. That will be the application file, that is the .ds format file, which we'll be importing, and we'll see how to create a different application. So that's it for sharing.
Okay, everybody, give Vivek a nice round of applause.